Hey guys, welcome back. Yeah, let's see what has happened. I can see markets pushing higher. So yeah, just before we start, guys, this is just sessions where I go through what I see. I've got a paper trade account, so obviously it's not a live account. If I take any trades on this, I'm obviously not promoting you to take any trades, but I'm trying to maybe hopefully educate something to people who's not making money and want to learn to make money and patience, all of that. So yeah, so whatever we do, if we highlight something, maybe take some screenshots, make it part of your journal, because that's what I'm doing. And yeah, let's see what's happening right now. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump around to see where we are. Yeah, let's just go back to the hourly and let's just try to recap quickly what's going on here. This is the daily. As you guys can see, there's all these lows here. That's nice equal lows, and we're gonna maybe run this high here, but maybe before we want to run those, I'm gonna mark out this area here. And the reason I do this is where we're gonna start getting interested. Above this line. This is equilibrium. I'm just gonna make it a red line, so we all know the red line is equilibrium. What that means is anything above this red line is premium area. If we're expecting price to go lower, which we can see there's some nice equal lows, a lot of sell side down there, so we could expect this to be run this high into that and form some sort of, or even go into this area up here. I'm going to take those lines off just now. And maybe what we should do is take this off, because there's liquidity here. That's equilibrium, and we most probably want to pay attention to this daily fair value gap, and I'll tell you why. Let's call it daily fair value gap. The reason I marked this out, it could be something we want to, sorry, my apologies, this is not a daily chart, this is the hourly chart. So this is the hourly fair value gap, H1, and we might want to go dip or test into that if we want to go lower. Or we could just go, and that's above the equilibrium, and that's in premium, so it makes sense to maybe go test that or run something in there before we want to come down. But just as it is, could leave all of that open, just run this high here and then drop to take those low. So let me go to a daily so I can actually do what I was gonna talk about. Okay, so what we've seen here is we've seen price move up, move down, move down, move down, and then break structure, leave 1, 2 fair value gaps open. We filled the one and reject it, made me believe, and some other people, that we might go long. But then we've got this big drop taking out this low. This is a swing low, it's 3 candles. This low is higher than the middle one, and the right candle is also higher than the middle one. That's a swing low. The fact that we've broken that swing low suggests we're moving bearish, and we've inverted this fair value gap right here. This fair value gap got inverted with that black candle. Now we expect some sort of retracement and testing back in, and if you really look closely, that's the H1 fair value gap right there that we're targeting, and the top side of that is the dotted line, which is the 50%. We want to see price to stay or test that dotted line, but stay within the bottom part of that 50% if we want to go lower. So I'm gonna take that one off, just not to create any confusion here. And then we've got another fair value gap down here, and this is key to me. If we invert this fair value gap, we might go down all the way to these equal lows right here, but that's still not going to happen to, it can happen today, but I'm just saying it's still a long way from where we want. We want to see this candle maybe spike up and retrace, so we could see a big move up today and then retrace in the PM session, and then something to run down and maybe go through this fair value gap by the end of the week with NFP. So with all of that said, so we've got the fair value gap here, there's a fair value gap up here, so obviously I know the level there, so I'm not going to be too worried. And what we see over here, we see an inverted fair value gap right here, and I'm just going to mark this out so I can see what it looked like on a 2-minute chart. Okay, so 2 minutes, it's also inverting, so we might, and the reason I'm going to probably trade this as a short, I'm going to show you guys if it pops up one more. Okay, and I'm going to target this little blue lines there. That blue lines, I'm going to show you guys right now where that comes from. And we might, and the reason I'm targeting those, there's a swing low here all the way up there. That's a good place for deep discount if we potentially want to go higher. Price can turn around here and run up. I just see 2 time frames with fair value gaps, and I'm happy to take that. Okay, so let's see how it plays out. Stop will normally be on the other side. If it closes above that, you close it, you close the position. And I mean, this is one E-mini contract, so it's not taking too much risk. I mean, I could put a stop loss there, $300 for 1,300, so that's like a 4-to-1. Okay, cool. Let's see what is happening on the 1 minute. 1 minute, this lines that I'm highlighting here is basically just seeing the 9:30 to 10 o'clock through and see where that first fair value gap is. It's a very tiny fair value gap there, but there's some fair value gap right here. Okay, so let me leave it at the 2 minute. I think this might even could go low, but this could test it right there and then sell off again, and we can try to take a short right there, and that will, and it's only me treating this as some sort of order block, and hopefully it holds to send price lower. But bear in mind, NFP week, we've seen earlier in the week where, we, like ICT would say, we were coloring with, outside the lines, and kept my stops tight and obviously got stopped out. So hopefully we get something. Yeah, actually going to put this right there, just in case. If it drops here, I'll obviously bring my stop just above the midpoint of that fair value gap, and sorry, it's an inverted fair value gap, and then hopefully it holds. So what I want to show you guys, these blue lines, these are I think it's called, I don't know if it's a session opening gap or what it's called from an ICT perspective, but it's normally, you go in a day and you look at normal hours, you keep an eye on the 6 o'clock candle and the 4:58, so that will normally create some sort of a little gap, and you just mark the close and the open, and it will create these gaps, and you'll see how price actually respect these gaps, and hopefully that holds and not stop me out. But here you can see we've got this big push up, and then we test that that gap that we marked out, then consolidate about the previous day's gap, and then run up. So now I'm targeting this first gap on this fair value gap, but IFEG. But also keep in mind, we do have some sort of bias to see price going above this red line into this blue block, and if it stops me out, then it's fine, then we'll just wait for up there. And this is already giving me so this was 1, 2, and I might close this. Yes, I've got this. Let's just see how it behaves here. I do think this was a little bit of a premature type of entry. I just wanted to go. If that fair value gap holds, if it doesn't, obviously it's gonna then stop me out. I do think we're gonna go higher to this now. It was a silly trade to take it there, so want to take notes. Let me go sort out the dog. Okay, as expected, we got stopped there. The reason I took this one, maybe it's at the wrong place. It's just after 10. We formed a fair value gap. We broke some structure there. We pushed lower. We were holding. And then the rule is, I mean, there should be some good reason why you want to short in a discount area or why you want to buy in a premium area. So that's something to note. And what's happening now, this fair value gap becomes the inverted fair value gap to go long. So now it actually makes sense to take a long up to those reds. provided it comes down and tests this fair value gap to give you the opportunity to actually take a buy. So let's see. Otherwise this is just going to become some sort of breakaway gap and just run into those. But let's see. Be good to see it come down here. I don't know, might just come up here to up here. Okay, so it's going to create some sort of fair value gap again. Normally what you do is you take your trade down here, and once it breaks the first high, you move your stop to break even, and then price should accelerate, or if it comes down then it wants to screw around on the side here. Then it's best to just break, get out, break even. It would be good to see price come back here, maybe not to the fair value gap, but come and test this order block type of thing. If you go to the 5 minutes, you'll see there's a little big black candle, so it could come down in there, which will present a nice buying opportunity. So let's see. Okay, so if you guys can look closely, you'll see that fair value gap. Let's do this so I can show you guys properly. See that fair value gap, how price tipped in it and then ran up, test that, and hopefully we might see some deeper retracement here. And then hopefully we can target that high and that midpoint that we said we want to target. And this bottom part of this fair value gap lines up with this IFVG. So let's see how it plays out. Let's see if price got tendency to go lower. Maybe test that fair value gap to pick me up. I was just trying to get a better price. But as you can see that from the 5-minute, that line, that order block, stop right on top of it. And always put my first entry just above it in case it turns like this, because if I was on that level, wouldn't have picked me up. But I mean, this thing can still go lower from here. We haven't seen strong displacement away. We've seen it here, but not here. And the macro only starts from here. So we might see something and then boom, and come down or something. Okay, let's see what it does. And see how the bodies close above the high of the fair value gap that form from this push up, those black lines. Look, if it doesn't pick me up on the second lowest buy limit, then it's fine. I mean, I'm sit with one contract, and I don't think I'll just grab another trade within this short space. But let's look at the 1 minute and see what's happening there. See, I don't like these fair value gaps. There's two on top of each other. Don't like that. I like to scale down to a time frame where I can see one fair value gap. See, 5 minute as a fair value gap into that order block, and the 2 minute has the same thing as that fair value gap, which is a nice big one. But let's see, I might be lucky or not. Okay, so I do think if market runs higher from here and give you some sort of short opportunity up here, it might be the high and then trade down tomorrow all the way down to at least this level here. I mean, that's a big chunk. Maybe I'm overexcited about it, but maybe we just do nothing. So I'm just saying what I think could happen. I'm not saying it will happen. And oh, let's see if it's gonna pick me up there. If I didn't move my buy limit, I would have been picked up on that level. But also the other thing that I normally look at is this. We've got this nice wick of a candle, and if you take the top end of that and the bottom end of the wick, you'll see 50% of that. That is where I should have put my order and see if it actually holds that 50%. Then it would have been a perfect entry of no drawdown, would have picked me up, and off you go. But okay, it's one of those things. It's not the end of the world. I'm just keeping it here so I can use this. And that 50%, I just want to see how that see how this fair value gap, that bottom to the end, how that lines up with that 50% as well. That's confluences that you want to look at and that's the 50% level where you want to get your entries on. Unfortunately, I was too late to that party, otherwise it would have been a nice entry. But it is what it is. All we need now is we've got this little consolidation drop down. Now I need something to break these highs and close and maybe test there to then run higher, and that would give me an opportunity if I want to buy more. Okay, so now I'm into this trade, and hopefully this is where it stops and rip higher from here. The macro starts here, or it can just do the opposite. Well, I'm pretty convinced. I'm not convinced. I mean, anything can happen where we just drop out the floor. But let's see what happens. Okay, so obviously that's not a good trade to buy into. Okay, so this is a order block here. Let's see what, hopefully we see some sort of a white candle, up close candle here, where we can sell into, and in this macro time see price violently pushed down. And what we can do is we can sell one here, and we can sell one here just before that fair value gap to pick it up in this fair value gap. That's a 2022 model, which is we run, we invert, we test. Or this can be seen as a breakaway gap and not get it. Remember I said earlier, if you take a fair value gap that gets inverted, you buy there. The minute it breaks that, you move to break even. If it stops you out at break even, that's it, because it might most probably can reverse from there. If it didn't stop you out, most probably would have gone your way. But let's just sit and see. Okay, so we're going into the macro, the 20-minute macro hour. So we might see push up and then drop, or just drop. See how this gap holds. Okay guys, I actually don't know if I'm gonna sit. This looks like something that's gonna run lower. It might come back later. I'm actually just gonna wait for the afternoon session, so I'll probably dial back in. Let's see, this is 12, so I want to see what happens between 12 and 1, and then normally around 2:30 you know, get some sort of setup within this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let it just play out. I'm not going to worry too much about, going to walk away. I'll come back later because this is now past my my time, trading time. I normally trade within this section here and then later in the afternoon. This thing might drop, I might miss the move, it's also fine, but I'll speak to you guys later. And yeah, trade well, don't take any trades, just watch what the market does, and I'm sure next week will be much better for us to trade. Take care, chat later, bye bye.